Escaide 2023 is drawing to a close. But before we go, we wanted to reflect a little bit on, well, not just what we've been talking about this week, but on Escaide's past and Escaide's future. I am delighted to welcome back onto the stage to join me for this conversation Andrea, Ammon and Mike Catchpole, who are, of course, the Director and Chief Scientist of the ECDC. A very warm welcome to both of you. Make yourselves comfortable. You've earned some relaxation, so sit back and enjoy. I just wanted to ask you a little bit, not so much right now about this year's Escaide, but I think between you, I was trying to tot it up. If Escaide started 2007, that means between you, it's around 50 Escaides that you've attended, just under, I think. Andrea, for you, over all those years, what has really stood out for you?
I mean, there were many really interesting and inspiring talks, but two are coming to my mind for different reasons. One is in 2016, we had a keynote by Henrik Wegener. He was then with the scientific advice mechanism at the Commission, and he talked about open data. In 2016, so 7 years ago. And that, at that time, it really sparked a discussion that showed to me that the community here hasn't embraced it yet. This concept of open data and what it means to our ways of dealing with data. Because there were a lot of questions on the quality of the data, the representativeness, and how we draw conclusions from data sets that we have no idea how they were collected. So that was something, and I mean, this will be the future. I think that was something that stuck in my mind. And the other presentation was on non-specific immune effects of vaccines. That was the year before, and I have to say, for me, I have never heard about this. For me, this was really new. And it was about that vaccines, apart from giving immunity to what they should, can also have specific, unspecific effects on all-cause mortality or morbidity. Either increasing it or decreasing it. And that, I think, was also very much debated, and I thought it's a good example that Escaide brings these non-mainstream things to the debate.
And one that is now mainstream, artificial intelligence, the discussion that we had on that, very much echoing what you said about that discussion on open data all those years ago, and then newer ones like wastewater surveillance. So continuing that trend of looking for the highlights. Mike, for you, are there any particular moments you look back on and that really influenced your thinking, the way you approach things?
Well, many, and I'd probably take a slightly different approach to answering this. I mean, there's been a lot of great science, but public health is about the people who make it happen. And for me, memorable presentations, who can forget Ilaria Capua changing shoes in the middle of a presentation as she switched from scientist to politician. Mike Ryan's just breathtaking dedication and commitment in the work he does for WHO, and say the passion that Dame Sally Davis showed about antimicrobial resistance. And all those three people really have made such an impact on public health through their action. But I think actually the thing that stands out for me, and it's about people, is the incredible presentations. I've seen so many by young professionals, some still in training, some starting out on their career. Excellent scientific presentations, and for me, that augurs well for the future of public health. So I look at it that way.
Thank you, and very much, I think, resonating with that conversation we had this morning about the public health workforce and being appreciated and being recognised for the work that they do, both in times of crisis and the stresses and strains, we discussed that, but also more broadly. Okay, let's look forward a little now. This is, for both of you, We shed a small tear here. Your last escaide. What are your hopes for the future? I mean, are there particular topics that you hope it will cover in future? Or is it more about how it grows, how it changes? Andrea, what do you hope for the baby that you leave behind?
I don't leave a baby behind.
It's now a fully fledged adult.
Yes,
Indeed.
I think escaide can stand for itself. And it has, with the scientific committee, I think there are enough experts there that help that the direction and the content of escaide is partly at the forefront of what will come as a challenge or as influences on the daily work, and where there's a debate necessary, but also stimulate these kind of debates. And the other part is that it should stimulate debates to find solutions to common problems, like what we discussed this morning with the workforce. And lastly, I hope it remains a place where you can exchange your experience, find others that have similar or completely different experiences, so that you can learn from each other.
I mean, one thing that struck me is people really here so much commitment. It's a beautiful sun out there. We're in an amazing city. And yet every session packed, all the poster tours, all the networking that's been going on. You talk, Mike, about passion. And we see it in every participant, frankly, not just the people who are on the stage. As you look to the future of escaide, where do you hope it will go? What direction do you want it to take?
Well, I hope that it stays focused on translation of science into practical action. I mean, that for me, it's still my favorite conference. Before I came to ECDC, it's my favorite conference because it's rooted in the practical application of public health science. So I hope that remains. But I think if COVID taught us, well, COVID taught us many things, but if COVID taught us one thing, is that actually public health is about taking a holistic view on, society, the impact on society, not only of actions to reduce transmission, but actually the effects they can have on well-being. So I hope that it'll continue, and I think the last few years we've broadened the scientific agenda, made it much more multidisciplinary, and I hope that in the future it continues to be increasingly multidisciplinary, because that, I think, is the only way we will really maintain an impact on public health.
Can I end our conversation with a little more philosophical question? It comes back to something I discussed yesterday in our wrap-up session, because you both started in your opening speeches on Wednesday talking about escaide, this year's escaide, and the context in which we're meeting, the challenges that we face. And we've been discussing throughout the 3 days how science, the latest, as you say, a lot of great science in response to those challenges, and also new approaches to dealing with those. Andrea said on day one, I come to Mike first and then Andrea, but Andrea, you said on day one, together we can change many things. Mike, as you leave this, your last escaide, from what you have heard over the last 3 days, do you feel more optimistic that the answers, some of the answers to those huge challenges lie in this room, and that we are on the right track? Or are you concerned that maybe we're going to struggle to find those answers? How do you feel at the end of this? Do you feel uplifted or downcast?
I feel totally uplifted. I think that we have an incredibly, and I'll use the word again, passionate workforce. I think within Europe and within the audience, because we're global now, the level of expertise is phenomenal. The wish to make a difference is phenomenal. I can only see the glass as half full, not half empty.
Huge challenges, but huge opportunities from the people in this room. Andrea, would you agree?
I totally agree, and I think this is what helped us through all those years, that in general the group that we have here connected is not only passionate, but also willing to work for the better of public health, for the better of the health of people. And this enthusiasm is infectious. that doesn't exclude that someone feels down and burned out and really depressed. But I think by sticking together and helping each other out, we can also lift each other to continuing our work. And this is why it's so important that we hang on to each other.
And it was so striking that you say that when you looked at the questions in this morning's session. So many of them were about, how can I help a colleague who's suffering from burnout? How can I persuade people who work under me to work less hard, to take breaks? So it was all about helping other people as much as for themselves. So that spirit of commitment and sacrifice to each other seemed very strong.
Yeah, but I think that's in many philosophical directions you see this, that as soon as you help others, you help yourself as well.
I think that's a very good note on which to end this conversation, but not. I'm going to give the floor back to Andrea and to Mike at the end because it's their show and I would like them to finish it. But for now, would you join me in a massive round of applause for both Andrea and Mike? So, before I hand over to them to bring proceedings formally to a close, I would like to invite onto the stage Jane Whelan, who is going to present the AN Photo Contest and Best Oral Presentation Awards. Jane, they've been waiting for this moment. I don't know how many people voted in those contests, but over to you to tell us what happened and who the winners are.
Thank you, Jackie. I got dazzled by the bright lights, but yes, thank you very much. My name is Jane Whelan. I'm here on behalf of the EPS Alumni Network Board to award the EAN prizes for the best poster, the best oral presentation and the best photo. I want to start by, just to echo something, Mike, that you said. This is all about, of course, the outstanding science, but more than anything, it's about the people. And these prizes wouldn't happen without the generosity of the time, the expertise, and the enthusiasm of the judges. So I want to start by saying that, really to extend a heartfelt thank you to all our judges. So, the prize for the best oral presentation, we would like to award to Victoria Hall from the UK Health Security Agency for her presentation on the findings from the UK Siren study. Is Victoria in the room? I'm sorry, I can't, it's very hard to see.
Here she comes. Yeah, I can see her approaching.
Oh, we do. Congratulations. And, yeah. And so to the photo contest. First of all, again, thank you so much to everyone who submitted a photograph. There were some really beautiful pictures and very difficult to decide. So we're going to start with third place. In third place, we have Rossin Ballisto and A River with a Heart That Flows Among Us. So congratulations.
That's amazing.
In second place, one of our board members, no conflict of interest there, Justine Schaefer, The 10 Steps to a Perfect Evening. So congratulations, Justine.
Yes, that was my favorite.
And our winner, Natalie Fisher, Colours of Community. And we have a prize for Natalie. Now, congratulations. There you go. Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone.
Just very finally and very briefly, I promise, we just also want to say we have the elections, the results from the elections for the new board members have been released on email. So for anyone who's interested, you can check the outcome there. I'm not going to name everyone, but we would also like to encourage, if there's anybody here who has not yet subscribed as an EPS alumnus and would like to join the network, please do. It's such a simple step. You just click and pay. But again, just to thank you all very much, and thank you for the opportunity to present this afternoon. Thanks you.
Thanks very much indeed, Jane. Thank you. And warm congratulations to our winners and indeed to the runners-up. Just a couple of tiny housekeeping points from me before I leave the stage, just to remind you that escaide.eu, I'm sure that you couldn't attend all the sessions that you wanted to. The recordings of all the sessions are being put on the website, and they will be available until March next year, so you have plenty of time to review them. Andrea's going to tell you in a moment about the feedback survey, but just to remind you, as an incentive to do it, that if you wish to request CME credits or you want a certificate, official certificate of attendance, you must submit the survey, and you can find out more about CME accreditation on the escaide website page. It has been an absolute privilege for me to be your Master of Ceremonies over the last 3 days. You are a truly remarkable bunch of people. Yes, it's about great science, but as we've heard, it's also about great people. And speaking of great people, I'm going to leave it to two very great people on the stage. Andrea, Mike, over to you.
Thank you, Jackie. So, escaide 2023 is coming to an end. And I think it was a big success. Everybody I talked to was very happy, first of all, to be here in Barcelona, in this building. So I think thanks also again to our Spanish hosts, that was a very good choice. I was also delighted to see how happy everybody was to speak to each other, to connect to each other, and to actually also listen to what to the work that everybody has done. So I think that if that continues, I think there's hope for the world. This conference also has showed us the challenges that we have. Challenges that are related to new technologies, some of which we understand, like the wastewater and the metagenomics. Others that we don't understand yet, like artificial intelligence. We also discussed what the pandemic has done to our workforce, to us, and our colleagues. I think we have to think about how we can actually, or what we can do to make it better the next time we have such a crisis, to anticipate and build in safety nets and safeguards for those people who actually deal with the crisis. Then we also had future scenarios in the Eurosurveillance seminar. Someone said they're all doomed and gloomed, and a bit it is. But on the other hand, it is also about, for us now, what are we able to do in order to make it positive in the future. We had a lot of abstract presentations and posters in addition to the plenary sessions, and I know they were very well attended. We had side events with side effects, of course, and info stands that were also crowded and very well visited. So I hope you found the scientific content very inspiring as the presence of each other. And for the scientific content, we really have to thank the scientific committee with Mike as the chair and the reviewers that selected the abstracts that you heard. So, I can say that this was the escaide with the highest interest, with in-person registration closing earlier than we had anticipated because it was full. Although we have extended the numbers, so we had 800 registered attendees here in person and almost 3,000 online. So when Jackie was saying the thousands online, it was true. And there was also really a good engagement on social media with participants and presenters sharing highlights and the conference. So, Jackie has already mentioned there will be a feedback survey that will be emailed to you, and you can reply to it until 11 December this year. Those who want to have CME credits, please, that's a prerequisite to fill in. But for us, it is really also important because we want to further improve, and we want to have your suggestions that we can then take on board. Now, it is my last one. It is the last time that I can stand here, and it was an amazing development that this conference did. When I had as you are aware, that it started from the EPIAT Scientific Seminar, and the first EPIAT Scientific Seminar that we had in 1997, we were 8 fellows in the EPIAT, 2 where I was one from the German FETP, and in the end we had more supervisors attending than there were fellows presenting. That has changed, and I'm really happy about this. So I think the attraction that the conference got is due to the scientific content and the scientific excellence that people feel they can present here and listen to here. And it's not only Europe, but it is from the whole world. And I think this is a tremendous success where all of you have contributed. And I really would like to thank you for that. But my thanks go now to many people. To the rapporteurs. You know, nobody's talked about them, but the rapporteurs summarizing each session did a great job. So thank you. The abstract session moderators and the poster tour moderators, thank you. The side event organizers, also thank you, because that makes it interesting. Then to our contractors from EPIC and GOPA, everything went very smoothly, and if there was a hitch, they helped to smooth it out immediately. Thank you. To our Master of Ceremonies, Jackie Davis.
Thank you.
To the communication team from ECDC, who helped to make it known and share it with the world. But the biggest thanks go to our 3 organizing angels. To Cristina da Cruz, Luciana Moresan, and Margot Brieux. Please come here. You have no idea how much they put into this until this very moment. And I would like to thank you so much. because, I mean, that we could really enjoy this here is your work. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you, Margot.
You're well done.
So, we do not have gifts because they only would have to carry them back to Stockholm, but we will have gifts for them in Stockholm. So, and with that, these are now really my final words for escaide. Usually I say, see you next year. I cannot say this, but escaide will happen next year in Stockholm from 20 to 22nd of November. And I hope you all come. Thank you so much. Have a safe travel home. And I see some of you tonight for the graduation. Thank you.